Hello everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Amanda Ostrander. I am a teacher-turned-homeschool mom, and this is Raising A to Z, a place where we talk about all things homeschooling. And today, I'm going to go over what curriculum I've chosen for my 4th grader for next school year. It is that season, it is that time of year when I am finalizing my choices for next school year. And some of you might think that's a little insane, but I personally like to get it done in the spring. A couple things factor into this. One, when I was teaching, often the spring would be when you were getting like your assignments for next year, because sometimes you got moved around, especially in elementary school, depending on like where, enrollment numbers and people who are retiring or leaving or anything like that, right? So spring was often the time when you like started looking at curriculum and like what you're going to be teaching next year. And that has kind of just stuck with me. I have a couple other teacher friends who homeschool and they are also the same. So I think it's just like ingrained at this point. Don't feel like you have to, but I do like it. A, like I said, because I'm, it's ingrained from my teaching days. But B, I also like to get it done before summer. Like once summer comes, we don't have long summers here. They are short. They are fleeting. And we want to be able to enjoy them as much as possible. Even though we do homeschool over the summer, I don't want to spend my summer days on the computer researching and trying to make final decisions. I'll do that when it's raining in the spring. So that's what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to go over all the curriculum that we've chosen and then go just do it all. So this week we're doing my 4th grader, which is Zoe. Next week we'll do Alexi for my 6th grader. Week 3 will be what topics and unit studies we're studying next year, novel studies, all that kind of stuff. And then week 4 comes and we are going to put it all together and plan out a whole year. So buckle in. We got a whole month of curriculum and planning to get us all set for spring. So let's start with Zoe. Zoe is going to be in 4th grade. And I'm very, very excited about what's coming up for Zoe. If you have not been following along with Zoe, she has had some struggles when it comes to language and reading. So she had some hearing issues when she was younger, that basically her ears wouldn't drain whenever she got like congestion in them. And she would go like into like hard of hearing levels for quite an extended period of time. And she just couldn't hear us. That happened pretty much like a lot until she was about 6. So she does have some of like, we've got those resolved. That's not a problem anymore. So she has the hearing issue that has affected her speech. She also has a lateral lisp, which is like, she pushes the air out the side of her mouth instead of out the front of her mouth. So those two different problems have like combined to make speech a little bit more difficult for her. And then also because her speech is more difficult, she has a harder time with reading. I think it really does affect her reading. Because like she can't always, like it took a long time to get her to tell the difference between like a k, like a C sound and a t, because she just couldn't hear the difference and couldn't make the different sounds. So she's been doing speech therapy. She did some orthodontics work to have her crossbite corrected so that her teeth actually close properly now, because they didn't before, which I'm sure doesn't help her speech issue. All of this to say, she has been a very slow reader. Very slow to get her to read. She's struggled a lot with it. I do also suspect that she may have some dyslexia type situation going on a little bit, just based off of some of her behaviors. But as a teacher, I know the best thing for kids with dyslexia is focusing on phonics and repetition and practice. So that's what we've been doing. And we are finally seeing the results. Even since September this year, she was very much struggling with just like even basic words. And despite being 8 years old. And now she's reading small books, which is great. And by small books, I mean like level 2 National Geographic books. So we're getting somewhere. She's not totally fluent. She does still need help, but it's a huge improvement from where we were. And she's picking up on a lot more sight words. She's picking up a lot more patterns, which is great. And so we are finally at the point where like we actually just started reading a small novel, Dragon Girls novel, and she doesn't have a lot of stamina because it is so much work for her, but we're reading. And that has been the goal all along. And she's excited to read. So we are winning. This has always been my goal. If you've never heard me say it, I say our goal with our kids has always been that they love learning and that they love reading and that those things never become excessive work for them. So that's where we are finally getting, that she enjoys reading, she enjoys stories, and she's happy to do what she's doing. And that has been the goal, making reading not feel like such a burden. And so I'm really excited to see what we can do next year now that reading is becoming a little bit easier, because that's where we're going. So in terms of language, let me see what I've got here. All right. So because her reading is lower and she is still a struggling reader, a lot of her language stuff is a little bit lower because I don't want her, like I said, to feel overwhelmed. And I do want her to have confidence in progress. So as long as we're seeing progress, I'm happy. And as long as we're moving forward, I'm happy. So first off, in the past, we've done a lot of, chalkboard publishing. I've kind of moved this year to Spectrum in terms of our reading programs and our writing programs, just because Chalkboard has moved a lot of their stuff. Oops, a piece of tape. Chalkboard has moved a lot of their stuff to like digital PDFs, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it is what it is. And then I did find the Spectrum a little bit more beefy, just a little bit. So here's what I got. For language arts, we are still going to be doing lots of Brave Writer. That's our majority of our language arts. I do just like to supplement a little bit with a little bit more rigor and rote. So we love the Brave Writer. I have a whole bunch of novel studies picked out. That'll be in our topics and novel studies video in 2 weeks. But that's going to be the majority of like our language lessons. On top of that, I've got Spectrum reading. This I found actually originally for Alexi because I was looking for something that would slow her down and get her thinking about her reading a little bit more. And just to show you what I like about the reading one, again, you'll see this is grade 2. Zoe's in grade 4. But again, building confidence, right? So it's a reading passage and then a few questions about the reading passage. Nothing crazy. It's not super long. They're all like one page with, a little picture. It's not a very long passage. Something just to get her, A, we can read it together, and B, get her doing some of the reading comprehension questions. So I did want to get her doing that. I've been doing it with Alexi and I've been really happy with it. So we're doing the Spectrum 2 reading. And then I did get Spectrum 3 because she is doing it. She can do it. She's been doing grade 2 this year in the Chalkboard publishing. So I figured let's do grade 3 and just try it, right? We can always do, and I'm not a big, we don't do a ton. We'll do a little bit by little bit, right? Similar to the Chalkboard. Chalkboard is a little bit different in that it's like a half page per day. And we've always done a full page anyway, but it's a little, one page, we do one page a day. And this one has parts of speech, capitalization, punctuation, sentence structure, and usage and vocabulary, which was basically the same as the Chalkboard stuff, but a little bit different, right? I just figured just a little something. I also like that this one is a little bit more writing because I do want to get my kids writing a little bit more. And then the other thing that we're going to be doing this year, because I do want to focus on writing this year, we haven't made it a big push so far. We've done a little bit of writing, but nothing like crazy. So this year we are going to up our writing. And I will talk about that more in the topics video, but we'll basically be doing kind of an assignment, a writing project a month for the majority of the school year. So that's the goal. That's what we're doing for reading, writing, and language arts. Brave Writer, some Spectrum, and some writing projects. Cool? Okay. For math, we're sticking with what works. Zoe is loving the math lessons for living education. It's working really, really well for her. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So we're going to be doing, like I said, she's going to be moving on to level 4. She might actually even start this over the summer because she is wrapping up level 3 probably in the next couple weeks. And then she'll probably start this over the summer and just do a little bit by bit, right? I do, again, like the Practice Makes Perfect book that supplements, because sometimes you just need something a little bit extra. And I do like going back with her and getting her to work on some skills, especially if we haven't done something in a while. And I will say I don't use this the way it's intended. We focus on this, and then I just find activities that I kind of think we need to practice a little bit on in this one. That's been working for us. And then the only other thing that I've been doing lately with both my girls is multiplication and division flashcards. Just your standard flashcards. I've been making it a game where, the first one to get 20 cards. So if you get I put the card up, they each get a turn. Once you miss, it becomes the next person's turn. First one to get 20 cards wins. Just because I wanted them to kind of like get those a little bit more strongly, a little bit quicker, a little bit more confidently. I feel like they can do them. They like to think about it. 3 groups of 5. No, it's 15. Yeah. And I just want them to be 3 times 5 is 15, a little bit more quickly. And Alexi's getting better at it, so she's going to be switching over to division a little bit more, but that's what we're doing for math. It's working, and we're happy with it. All right. Science, social studies, history. You're going to have to wait for all that. It is all going to be in our topics video with all of the curriculum. Everything is going to be in there. But we are a unit study family, so basically we are doing a unit for all of those topics. I try to rotate between a science and a social studies history kind of topic, but it depends on how it falls in my year. Sometimes we get 2 back-to-back, but that's okay. Generally, by the end of the year, I've covered just as much, if not more, than the school system, so I don't really care. But yeah, that's what we're doing for science and social studies. It's all going to be unit study because that's just what works for us. For French, Zoe, I've been trying to get her onto Duolingo for years because she is stubborn, number 1. That's been the first part. Number 2, I do feel like Duolingo, you do need to be able to read a little bit to do it confidently and do it well. And now we're at that point. Finally. Thank you. So she will officially be starting Duolingo. I've said that for probably the last 2 years. It's going to happen, and we're going to put her on it this summer. So that's our French goal with her. If you don't know, Zoe really hates the idea of learning French. She would rather learn Spanish, but unfortunately for her, she is born into a French-Canadian family where a large majority of our family speaks French. So learning to speak and read French is kind of important for her. So she will be doing French, much to her dismay. But yeah, we're going to start that. So that's her goal for French. Again, I just want her to be able to speak it and understand us. She does understand us for the most part, although sometimes she pretends she doesn't. It's just Zoe. And then lastly, what are we doing for art and music? We're going to do some different stuff. Our kids generally have been working on piano, and Alexi loves it. Zoe's a little bit more, again, she wants to do what she wants to do. And so she enjoys playing songs when she likes the song. And we've been trying to give her songs that she likes, but she's a little bit more, I don't really want to do it. I just want to jam. That's her vibe. That's what she tells my husband when he gives her piano lessons, because he has a music degree, so he can do that. And she's like, no, Mom, no, Dad, I just want to jam. Whatever. But we have been kind of buckling down on her that she does need to practice a little bit more. So she's going to continue her piano lessons with my husband. We are also going to be doing, I'm going to find it here. I did get something new. So we are also going to be doing, The Good and the Beautiful has a brand new music appreciation curriculum. So I did buy that, and I'm very excited that we're going to try to do that. I think we might alternate between music and art. So on one Monday we'll do music, one Monday we'll do art, one Monday we'll do music, one Monday we'll do art. There's about 20 lessons in here. So I think that will be a pretty good stretch for us. And just kind of do something different, a little bit more like art, music history. And the other thing we're going to pair it with is the True North History's Canadian Art and Artists unit. So I wrote this. not gonna lie. And it's available on the True North History website. But basically, we're gonna do this every other week, and I'm very excited about it. So what it is, I'll show you because I think you're going to like it a lot. I'm very excited about it. So every week, you have a biography of a famous Canadian artist. Nothing too long. You have their approach to art and like what makes their art unique and what makes their art special and significant in Canada. There is a piece that you look up online, thanks to copyright laws. Yeah, that's how we have to do it. But then there's questions, like guiding questions of things to notice and questions to ask your kids and think about. And then there's an art assignment of like based off of this artist's work. And there's 20 of them. So this paired with this would give us almost a full year of lessons. It's 40 weeks of lessons. So I think that's what we're going to do. And I think my kids are really going to love it. And it's nice and easy. It's all there. It's made basically to make a portfolio. So you just get a nice sketchbook and all but one assignment are done in the sketchbook using, watercolors, pastels, pencil crayons, all the stuff you have at home, and make art. So that's it. That's what we're doing for grade 4. I'm excited. I know Zoe's very excited, and we're gearing up and ready to go. So thank you so much for watching. Like I said, tune in over the next couple weeks as we hit what I'm doing with my 6th grader, what topics we're doing for social studies and history, novel studies, writing assignments, all that kind of jazz. And then finally, we'll be doing a whole plan with me video where I will literally take you with me on my planning journey. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe, click the bell, consider becoming a member because they get really cool bonuses and early releases and all that stuff. And make sure you're following along on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.